Ģērbākas pa kvalitāti.
Should be fine.
Beidzot var neredz pikseļus. Okay, Kārli, tu esi gatavs pirmais prezentēt, ja?
Sure.
All right. Nu tad pāris minūtes mēs sasataposimies no visu, tad po Elam pados tev ziņu, kad var sākt.
All right.
Tā. Mums jau beidzās, jā. Tad sanāk, ka Daņikam jāieslēdz mikrofons, lai visu runātu no tā, jā. Un ja kaut kādi jautājumi no zāles, es varu šito te slēgt un viņš arī mītās strādās.
Tev pievienot šeit kādu, vienkārši šeit jāstāv. Jā. Tas būs citādāk ekolūps, es saku. Mēs pagaidām no turēs sākties, ka pēc mums būs.
Jāsaka, Adi tikpat šitā te runā dāma, Nu, ķipa kārtojot, kur es vienam vietas iesniegums.
Es nezinu, man ļoti mazī.
Restīvi, jums nav nekāda informācija no kursa paša par to, jā?
Tikai kaut kāds par kodēs.
Ok.
Mēs kaut ko kārto un varbūt visticamāk nebūs vairs.
Viņš ir piestādās?
Nē.
Viņš viņiem būtībā to, ka viņš nav Latvijā, viņi būtībā vai nu viņi izmet ārā, vai viņš paņem akadēmisko, tāpēc pārējās opcijas.
Vai viņš brauc atpakaļ?
Jā.
Nu, viņš, man liekas, ka viņš ņem akadēmisko un tad viņš iestājās citā universitātē.
Nu, tas kā viņš to koriģē tālāk, tas ir cits jautājums, bet šajā gadījumā viņam tikai būtībā divas opcijas, ir divi varianti. Ja viņš pēc līkuma nedrīkst izrādās būt no zāmas Latvijas.
Viņš ir outlaws šobrīd.
Outlaw. Burtiski.
Jā.
Bet ja viņš paņem akadēmisko, viņš nevar atrasties Latvijā.
Viņam joprojām jādzīvo Latvijā. Viņam jāzina, jau būs, sanāk, ko vai muitē vai kādu robežu.
Robežu
tādā, jā. No valsts, ko viņš tādā nepadarīja.
Jo, nu, ķipa, kad tagad tu dabū to free pass, jā, no Eiropas Savienības, tad tu vari tā kā tajā valstī, kur tu esi dabūjis to studēt, tad tev ir jāuzturās, tu nevar tā vienkārši jolo braukāt. Viņu tā kā uz pases nekur neprasīja.
Jā, nu tas Schengens ļaujas, tāpēc daudz var tikt uz Eiropu, jo pēkšņi visi Eiropas ir vaļā.
Kas mums vēl? Tāpēc es skrietu pēc stūmu.
Šo man Indijā stāstīja. Jūs atzīmējāt, tur
Pilns šitiem kanāliem, sietiešiem iekšā.
Viņš tur tik, kuriem ir kalnas, viņš jūtos kā kāds sārks, nelaiz tiekšā, mēs visi Latvijā.
Jā, un tad droši vien ir kāds pats Džeksies Latvijā, viņš saka,
Viņš to kam to nezināš.
Are you sure? Sure. Un tas bija vieglāk
mākslā, tas stimulējās lēnām. Tur daži cilvēki cēna noteikti.
No! Tā, ko mēs darām? Mums ir kaut kāds galdiņš piešķirts, lai mēs varam tā smuki, vai mums nekad ne?
No, ja tas ir zabīgs piešķirt, bet viņš ir ļoti kustīgs.
Tas ir tas šeiki.
Šeiki.
Shaky, 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 shaky. Tā, kur redzēji, es uztaisīju to.
Kilo vīnu.
Būs galds.
Es jau tikai skatītājs vai jums?
Nē, es nospēju. Man palūdzu.
Tā kā īsti skolotāji, lai es sajūstu.
Audio. You're asking very much for how good it.
Šodien visu dienu šeit bija ēja, ja? No. Ko mēs skatījāmies? Kādu? Uz kādu. Kādu, tu vajag sākt?
Nevar.
Vēl nevar. Bet tu līdz varēs.
Šito beigās tad nodaram pašam atnes, ja?
Apoi.
Kā 12 cilvēki.
Aizsūt linku, kad viņi to var mūsēm. Nebija kāds.
Attiecīgi.
Tur es sēdēšu. Lai.
Jā, jā, jā.
Zinu, ko jūs varat izdarīt? Jūs man varat pateikt, kas ir komandas.
Daniels, Diana.
Pagaidi. Daniels, Diana.
Viena komanda.
Labi.
Krišs, Dāvis. Tad atsevišķi Kārlis un atsevišķi Čenis.
Pagaid, Krišjāns vairs nav un...
Tev skaņa nāk iekšā tur, jā? Pārbaudīji?
Yeah. It's good. It's for president.
Skaņa vārā vienkārši tā savā tumba tā būtu visiem. Tās šodien.
Tā lielā tunda nekā.
Jā.
Sapratu.
Šitos principā var haidot.
Ko haidot?
Vainieks.
Ko tā?
Švakos. Kas vairs nav.
Tagad haidot.
Is er sāk?
Man liekas, ka vēl nē. To nosūtīja linku. Kurš ir timekeepers?
Gan jau kā es.
Tātad kas? Tu?
Krišs.
Viņš būs uz datoru tumbiņām.
Pagaidām, jā, es tagad mainu uz tumbu, viņi vienkārši var sasāt.
Nevajag, lai tas tajā kompī iet. Vajag, lai viens koms, lai neiet
Jā,
cilp.
citādā sitīs atpakaļ būs beigts.
Kādā skaņa būs?
Būs reips, jā, pamēģinām.
Wow.
Aha.
Jā, tādu mēs negribam. Jā.
Ne?
Tas Bluetooth nepazīst viņu ko.
Viņš rāda, ka nefit, viņš nav runāt.
Tā neko palaid, viņš ir tās tumbiņas, gan jau mēs dzirdēsim. Mums ir tikai viens cilvēks attālināti. Divi?
You have faced 2 eliminations.
What?
You have faced 2 eliminations. Now it's the final 6.
Oh, okay, nice.
Who gets the rose?
Yeah.
Nē,
Viktors vienkārši, will you accept this role?
Viņš pagaidīs skaļāk.
He's
The
like,
max.
no.
I know you come out and great, and I really appreciate that you're...
And I think it could lead to something. Jā. Du. Viens, otrs.
Kur ir Ernest?
Kur Ernest?
Labs jautājums.
Tur. Man negribas atbildēt. Labi, neko darīt. Mums no šajienes skaņa.
Tā, labi, nu tad varbūt maucam, ja varam, jā?
Jā.
Sākam.
Jā, būs klusāk, bet jā, mums.
Share screen un Ernests nav, jā?
Vēl nav.
Vēl nav.
Vai viņš zina, ka viņam šodien dezinē? Viņiem individuāls komandas. Es domāju, kāpēc ielicis, ka viņi ir triksiņš.
All right. So, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for starting it also 30 minutes earlier so I could present today. Yeah, this is my developing by experimenting presentation. So, according to Gallup.com, the WAPE user count has increased from just 7 million people in 2011 to now 86 million in 2023, which means that it's grown more than 12 times in just 12 years. Also, the e-cigarette industry is growing and it's not going to stop. It's projected that by 2024, it's going to be a $26 billion industry. However, it's not all sunshines and butterflies in this industry because according to the US statistics of 2022, 54.2% of young people in US would like to quit vaping and 60% of adults as well. So if we take into account that there are 86 million people users worldwide, and if we follow the US standards that 55% roughly would like to quit vaping, that means there are 47 million potential users who are looking for a solution on how to stop vaping. And there are no good existing solutions as of now. When you Google how to quit vaping, it's either something extremely basic like start exercise, start a new hobby, ask for support, celebrate small steps, which considering the data on relapsing on vaping again, it just shows that they don't work and they're very, very simple. On the other hand, there are very extreme measurements you can take, like getting a medicine that has like strong side effects and also is very expensive. And when you look at companies who offer these type of solutions, they either have really bad SEO. You can't find them by just searching the most regular questions. You have to search for them individually. They're also quite expensive, and most of them have bad reviews, which means that they don't really work. So there's clearly an issue that needs to be solved. So I made a hypothesis that many individuals find it challenging to quit vaping due to the dual influence of nicotine addiction and psychological dependence, compounded by social and environmental factors. So I conducted the 19 interviews. I know that's not a large sample size. However, it does show the overall picture of how people are thinking. I interviewed 9 young Latvians at the age from 18 to 25 who have quit vaping for at least 2 weeks at some point of the time. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be not smoking right now. It's just important that they have quit at some point. And 84% of them told me that they just quit cold turkey with no preparation, nothing like that. However, 63% of them relapsed within the asked what were the biggest challenges in breaking the habit, basically if they experienced this challenge or not. And 73.7% said that they experienced nicotine withdrawals like nausea and anxiety, like headaches and so on. 79% said that they had psychological dependence, which means that it's just become a part of their day whenever they're bored, tired, or I don't know, anxious. It's just part of their day. When they're studying, they always have this habit or hitting their weight. Also, 79% 9% said that it's part of their social influence. Like, let's say you go to a party and everyone's vaping and they vape as well. They're studying with their friends go for a smoke break. Of course, they're going to go as well. And then also 58% said that it's also part of environmental triggering. So basically in places like, let's say, parties, bars, where a lot of people do consume these products, they do it as well. Only 32% were misinformed and didn't really understand the harms that vapes has, and 42% said that they had a lack of support. So the problems that needed to be solved are nicotine withdrawals, psychological dependence, social issues, and environmental triggers. And nicotine withdrawals could be treated by nicotine replacement therapy, which is like gum, nicotine gum, patches, nozzle sprays, and so on. Now, psychological dependence, since it's just a habit, it can be treated with a flavored air inhaler, which is a vape-like device, but it doesn't have any smoke nor nicotine, but you still get that throat hit that a lot of vape addicts do feel. And for social influence, it could be just a nicotine-free vape, and so as well for the environmental triggers. I'm well aware that nicotine-free vape is still harmful for your health, and the flavored air inhaler is a lot better option. However, I do understand if people feel uncomfortable using it in social settings, so it's better that they try to at least minimize their need with the nicotine-free vape. So my solution for these issues is a customizable nicotine quitting kit, which is fully customizable, and our users have the option to take a quiz, and we'll suggest them what's best for them. But they can also handpick items they would like. So here is just for demonstration, like the price, and then they can read more about the product. And flavored air inhaler with their flavors and prices as well. And then for the non-nicotine vapes, we would offer them with as basic as possible, as ugly as possible, and we would suggest the no flavor vapes. However, I do understand if people like they do need the taste at least to start the quitting process. So overall, the quit kit would start from 27 euros, which is not super cheap. However, if you consider that it's roughly the same price as for 4 disposables vapes, which is like less than 2 weeks of smoking usually, then it's not a bad deal. Now, the costs to make this kit would be 18 euros, which would leave us with 9 euro markup and 33% margin. Our ideal customer would be 18 to 30-year-old who is working, and it's important that they have been vaping for quite some time and they have tried before, but due to challenges like nicotine withdrawals and basically all the challenges I mentioned before, they were unable to do so. So they would make our ideal customer. And next steps to execute it would be to actually test out the product. If it's actually going to work, then to contact suppliers and do a pricing analysis, because right now I'm just spitballing the margins. It could be a lot higher, it could be a lot lower. I still have to test it out. And my takeaways for this project is to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. This is actually my second attempt within this course, because previously I was working on a different solution, but it was just solution based. So I spent like first 2-3 weeks just basically nothing, because I fell in love with the product that solved not a real problem. And then obviously, if I had collected and analyzed data a lot sooner, I could have came to these conclusions sooner as well, and I could have done a lot more tasks. And then lastly, I actually didn't realize how widespread and harmful vaping is, and I feel a lot more educated about it now. So thank you. That's it for me. I welcome your questions. Um, it's a good question. I really didn't look into that because obviously there's. I didn't. Yeah. Yeah. I'm testing out the product. Yeah, it's planned to buy in bulk and then make the packages ourselves. Yeah. In general, yes, but like let's say, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I didn't include that on purpose. Yeah, no, I'm well aware that I didn't include all of that because I don't know. I feel like these templates really like put a box on where your presentation can go. So I'd rather sacrifice points in order to make a presentation I wanted to make. Yeah, no, I had the main hypotheses, but from it went several other ones out of it. So this is the main hypotheses. but based out of it, basically concluded all my interviews. And, I did approve it. I forgot to mention it. That's my bad. Interview. Thank you for feedback. Yeah, and I kind of rushed in the end, so uh, that's my bad. Thank you for the feedback.
Jums vajag šito arī?
Take this mic and then just use
Bet
it.
viņi divi.
Nē, es vienu prezentēšu. I present alone this time because Daniel was more a programmer and a technical guy.
Mēs vakar samērām. Piedod, kāds bija tev jautājums, Diana? Es
Nebija
nedzirdēju.
jautājums, Daniels bija atbildīgs par prototipu programmēšanu. Un tas aizņēma daudz laika, tāpēc viņš ir technical person. He entrusts the presentation to me.
The presentator.
Kārli, vai tu man dzirdi caur šito mikrofonu? Ernest, vai tu man dzirdi caur šito mikrofonu? Bombična. Tā, un pēc tam es varēšu uzspiest uz linku, kas ir prezentācijā un pāriet. Super.
Pirmais kursiņš.
Nice. Ļoti labi. All right. Hello, everyone. Today, me and my teammate Daniels will tell you about our project in Developed by Experimenting, where we looked at the framework of loneliness. Have you ever felt lonely, meaning less connected to someone than you want to be?
Yes.
All right. Then something that we researched may be an interest to you as well. So, Developed by Experimenting is used for us to learn how to make database decisions that are not influenced by our own biases or prejudice. In this course, we looked more through a psychological lens, but there was a ton of research and struggles at the beginning. That's why the topics that we researched are so scattered all over the slide. So, First, we started with teamwork and communication and some hypotheses on how communication and teamwork influences team efficiency specifically. Then we researched marketplace business models, and then we went to loneliness itself. When we started researching loneliness, we pivoted to different solutions and had different interviews in both of those, but it didn't work out. So then we narrowed down to how emotional intelligence impacts feelings of loneliness in people, or emotional competency, let's say. And after we started focusing specifically on that route, we researched interpersonal relationship management, emotional regulation, and for Daniel's intense and quite a big job in C4 programming for the prototype, which you will see, and if we have time, you will be able to try it out as well. So the question evolution during the project, or from the egg to the chicken nuggets. The first question we asked was, do communication exercises improve team efficiency? Then does working environment impact the feeling of loneliness, since it's 1/3 of our lives that we spend in a job? And does it really have impact on how we're feeling mentally? Then are people with less communication skills more lonely, so correlating the emotional intelligence with the feeling of loneliness? And then can people even recognize the emotion when they are feeling it? For the first question, this is where the first pitfall starts, because we started with a ready solution. You know, I had this game of cards, not meant for teams, just something regular. When I went to people and played with them, they loved it, so I decided to do it for teams as well and startup and corporate environments. So we had 6 interviews and also 2 tests. We gave the first course 1 set of cards with the questions, and the second course. During the interview phase or testing phase, we understood that the games were not really influencing the efficiency of the team, or it doesn't make the people understand each other better in a professional context. But what I heard was, it's fun, it's nice to play, we laughed a lot. So the first glimpse of connection rather than efficiency started to show up here. But that meant that the answer to this question was no, it does not, and you should move forward, where the first confusion started to arise. This was me in the second week of the presentation, very accurate depiction. I was confused of what really is the problem, because I started with the solution, and I recommend you never do that. Really try to find the group and try to find what they are dealing with, rather than trying to sell the product that you just randomly came up with on your own. But then, as a blessing in disguise, I watched this video from Veritasium, what the longest running study on happiness reveals. It's been going on for 85 years, 3,000 people, multiple generations, also their kids were researched, if I can say that about a person, and other studies as well, genetic measurements included. So what were the findings there? Before defining loneliness, feeling less connected than one wants to be. And findings about loneliness were that people with stronger social connections have a 50% increased likelihood of survival any given year, basically reflecting their physical health from the mental health perspective. Then married men live 12 years longer on average, married women 7 years longer on average. Yeah, married people can be super happy about this fact. Being lonely is just as dangerous as smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day. Poor social relationships have 29% increase of heart disease, 32% increase of risk of stroke, and rate of cognitive decline was 20% higher over 10 years for people who experienced loneliness. This study was specifically for elderly people, so people who experienced loneliness had a higher risk of dementia and other cognitive disorders. What can we learn from this slide specifically is that you can see already very strong key points. Strong social connections, being married, and poor social relationships. So it's about social competencies, how you deal with the people around, how you make connections, and whether you can really make them qualitative. So the second question after this research was, does the working environment impact the intensity of loneliness? Since we started focusing on the teams of startups and maybe corporate departments, we decided to check the working environment in general. Does it impact the intensity of your loneliness in your day-to-day life? Here, no interviews, no surveys, purely research papers. And yes, the working environment does impact loneliness. However, in the research paper that I read, it was not clearly defined. So what I learned from there was that all of these factors can impact how lonely the person is feeling. And it seemed at the moment overwhelming due to time constraints, and that's it, due to time constraints to research them and try to find a problem that would work at least in one of those aspects. So we moved forward to regular people. Are people with less communication skills more lonely, trying to understand whether the person who is less emotionally competent experiences loneliness with its drastic consequences? Here we had 2 surveys with 72 and 32 respondents. Important to mention here that parallel to that, we were pivoting to people dealing with grief, but the data is not relevant for this presentation. There we had like 10 interviews, but we scratched that and it's not here. I'm not going to mention it anymore. So insights from the first survey. 16 out of 77 people reported feeling lonely, like they literally wrote the word loneliness in a qualitative answer, like a long paragraph answer. All of them were single, which was like a ding moment for us. 11 out of them rated their communication skills 6 or lower. The questions were rate your ability to communicate your needs and desires, and the second question was rate your ability to listen actively. And if communication skills are rated 6 and lower, people both in happy relationships and struggling are still struggling. So if the hypothesis approves here, if your emotional competence is lower, you will struggle nonetheless. Insights from the second one. So here we wanted to find out, can people really recognize what they're feeling in order to cope effectively? So sure, yeah, your communication skills are low, but do you know what to do if your communication skills are low? And here we understand that 7 out of 33 people chose the answer that no, I cannot recognize the emotion that I'm feeling at the moment. The skew here is that out of those 7, equal amount of both men and women answered the same. So it was like 60-40, but 4 men and 3 women answered that they cannot recognize the feeling. But who can we truly help? From the surveys, we found out that women are more likely to try and cope in a more mature way, so they are trying to look for solutions already. They either journal, they watch a video from a psychologist or a professional, or they try some kind of meditation exercises, whereas men, they try to not think about it and just try to avoid the feeling in general. So in this case, we would give them a vitamin, not a painkiller. So if you want help and if you're looking for it, we can really help you. So the summary of all this data: connection games are not the best solution for team effectiveness. The best solution would be Alice's and Christiana's and Selina's solution here. Then loneliness at work depends on variety of factors. It is possible to target them separately and truly look deeper, but we did not do that. Loneliness is a real issue and young adults struggle the most. And people with lower emotional competence struggle both in and outside of relationships. This is where Moodmaster comes in. So our solution. The solution would work in a way where the user who is feeling some sort of an intense feeling goes to the app, and the app will help recognize the feeling. So there's a quiz that I will tell you about later, where through the quiz, the app will tell you the emotion that you're feeling and give you the 4 options of what you want to choose. So either journaling, meditation, watch a video from a professional, or text a friend. The first user is female, single, basically just the person who is struggling and based on our data. The second one is the professional or therapist that provides content that helps with emotional regulation. So another role in the platform, so to say. So let's say you're feeling angry, then the video suggested for you would be videos from a professional that talks about how anger is expressed and how to deal with it better. And the third one is sponsors to the professionals to promote products and services. This is like the first idea of a business model that we could come up with, basically a business sponsoring the professional, like an ad in the video. For example, BetterHelp, you're watching a video from a professional and at the end you see an ad from BetterHelp, and we would take commission from the earned money. However, important note there is that Kasper suggested looking at the data gathering part, where we could just gather data on how the person is feeling at what time of day, where do they work, where do they live, basically try to find data about loneliness through the app. Yeah, but we did not look into that because we want to focus more on the solution and the user acquisition in this part of our project. So, as I mentioned before, we will be targeting single women aged from 18 to 24, already tried some solutions and most probably have some kind of unhealthy habits like smoking, drinking, or using any other drugs. And during this project specifically, we focused on the features, developing the prototype, developing the prototype and creating the landing page mockup. There we go. So this is the landing page mockup, and it will explain you more about the features as well. So as you can see already, tackling the pain points, struggling to feel your feelings, you can take a quiz, not sure how to cope, choosing options based on the surveys. So what is written here, this solution, I would never think that it would come out this way, but based on how people answered how they're dealing with loneliness, these are the solutions that we came up with. So guided meditation, so you get an audio on specifically that feeling and how to deal with it, journaling exercise, content from professionals, or a lot of people message that they like to meet up with friends or they want for someone to text them, so you would have an option, let the friend know how I'm feeling. So the friend gets a message on, hey, Guido is feeling really anxious, maybe you would like to check up on him. And a lot of call to actions here as well, as one on the website does. Oi, sorry. And continuing. This is our wonderful little prototype bot. So when you start, you put the I'm not sure how I'm feeling, then you get a visual test of where you show where your emotion is located. Then since just the picture is not enough, he asks you a couple of questions about how you're feeling just to make sure it is the true emotion that you're feeling. Then when the emotion is confirmed, he gives you a meditation exercise. This is how far we came up with. So the meditation exercise is here, more features to go. This is the test that we did around Business Academy, where people showed us where is the emotion, like show me where anger is. This is where they put it, but it was not enough, so that's where the questions come in. This is the logic behind the bot. That's on Daniel's, and our next steps or vision would be, first of all, to really complete the MVP, so the bot really works and there's more research behind how to recognize a certain emotion. Test it, like give it to the people we know, just try to see how the bot works, improve, and start acquiring users. And after we've acquired a base of, like a user base, then we can move on to the second user, which are the professionals. Takeaways and reflections from me is that for the first time I started with more of a research paper approach, not interviewing, and that it really helped me. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for a nice presentation. In the range from 1 to 10, how likely you would really run this business as you just show in the
As I just showed,
Yeah.
3. No, but okay.
So you did this just for the sake of the course.
No. Okay, I would like to continue evolving this idea, but I would not run it as it is right now. No way. Like, I still need to develop an MVP and put more research behind it. And
Yeah,
if the
that's
question
sure.
is whether I'm motivated to do it, then the answer is 8 out of 10.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah, thank you. Did you feel comfortable presenting this right now?
I did feel comfortable. However, the one aspect that held me back a little bit is that we didn't. Neizmēģinājām. So I was just improvising on the go, and I don't do that usually. So that was where the setbacks came in. But let's say on the comfort scale, 6 out of 10.
All right. Thank you.
I really want to hear your takeaways and reflections, so that is going to be my question for you.
My takeaway is that when it comes to develop by experimenting, start looking for already existing data in the paper studies, because there's a lot that you can find without really wasting time on trying to find the hypothesis and trying to do the interviews. And do what you love. This is the first time I did a project on psychology on a topic that really sort of sparks a fire in me, and I enjoyed every second of it, even though it was really stressful at the end.
Okay, Daniels?
No, the most important thing before you're building anything, you have to have a strong foundation of your whole idea. Of course, you can kill it with your own assumptions, but if you have any other people's perspectives and assumptions, you can start to build the first blocks. And now in our project, we had it. With all those interviews, we started to see a solution for it. And yeah, during 2 weeks, we had found the whole foundation for this whole project in our company, let's say, and it was easier for us to understand and scheme out what kind of solution it would be. So yeah.
Okay, and not sure how many slides there were still left. The question is regarding project planning. How did you manage to do that? What was the steps through the
Right, so
planning
it
of the
was not
project?
as obvious, but in the planner where I wrote presentation structure and sort of research topics, it was week 1 findings, week 2 findings, week 3, week 4. Week 1, we still muggled with the first solution, which was just the test cards. We had hypotheses there, we had interviews there, we tried to test it, but it didn't work at all. So then we were just super confused. During the second week, it was researching working environments. Then I got sick. And then week 3 was focusing more on loneliness itself, researching that. And week 4 was solution, brainstorming, solution creation, feature creation, data analysis, and all that. So more skewed towards the week 3 and week 4, like where the super working came in.
Aris has a question.
It's kind of additional question on Kaspar's. If you would get a budget for this, would you still build it as a business?
Well,
Let's
it
say if you
depends
get
on-
an investment. If this pitch would have led to an investment, how much would you have asked and how much would you need to continue on it?
I cannot answer that question right now, because what we focused on during these weeks was to truly find the problem and start brainstorming on the solution. We have not looked at any numbers. We have not checked how much it would cost to develop it, so I feel uncomfortable naming a number at the moment.
Any more questions? No? You had, in the slide, you had commission, right?
Yes.
But you did not look into that
No.
at all, in the numbers, not at all, yeah?
No, in the numbers, not at all. What we looked at was marketplace business models, because it is a platform, but I still struggle to understand whether it is 3-sided or multiple-sided, but because of the time constraints, I did not go into that at all.
Okay, then no questions regarding that matter.
One small question.
So, would you consider BetterHelp your competitor, your non-competitor? What's the deal with that, and how it compares to your platform?
So, how BetterHelp? Okay, so during the research, we found out that people who are feeling lonely to the point where it leads to anxiety and depression, they go to therapists. So, if loneliness is super strong, you go to therapy. This is a vitamin. This is for people who don't go to therapy for whatever reasons. Either it's money, which was also mentioned in the research, or fear. So this gives them a vitamin, like a self-help during the time of need. What BetterHelp does, it gives contact with therapists and professionals already. So I think it's another segment of people that they're trying to reach. They're trying to reach the ones that the problem is urgent enough to look for therapy on a website. So I would not consider them my competitors.
You also have therapists, like professionals.
Right, but they are not consulting, they are providing content.
Okay.
Our direct competitor is Gins Retans with Well-If AI.
Mm-hmm. But does he have a solution?
He does, yeah, he has a bot,
He's
an
testing it.
artificial
So
intelligence
basically
bot.
prototype measuring, but that was the additional question regarding. I was out for a second, that's why I asked Guido if there was this competition comparing, because there's plenty of apps that try to do this, not just prototyping, but solid apps that earn money with it. Even in Latvia, the Asia from Tilde is in competition with this, what you have. So that's why I was.
Right, so that's something to look into, yeah, market analysis.
I even
Fair.
have 2 of them in my phone, even 3 of them.
Right,
That's competition regarding.
Yeah.
And I have paid for one. So
Valid.
that's why, yeah.
valid. That's it. Thank you.
Es tikai nezinu, kā man liekas, ka pirmā reize bija vēsturē, kad kāds no komandas biedriem neprezentējām. Es nesaprotu, ko man ar Danielu darīt.
Well, it's going to be the same.
Lūdzu, liec vienkārši to pašu, ja mēs kopā researchojām, viņš programmēja lielāko.
Bet man ir sadaļa delivery. He was looking hot while sitting there.
Tieši tā.
Okay.
It was a routine, right?
Yeah. Kas tas ir? Kāpēc tas?
Hi. I'm Davis, and with my co-founder Krish, we're from Vazums, and we want to introduce our first potential product line, Pret, which is solving human episodes. What are human episodes? Most of people have. Sorry?
The screen hasn't changed.
All right. Just a technical pause. I can play some elevator music. Dim, dum, dim, dim, dim,
Es varu tikmēr izlasīt šito.
dim, 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 dim. All right.
Kas tas ir to? Dzeltenu rakstīts.
So, we're solving human experiences. What are human episodes? Most people would already know the names for these human episodes: anxiety, hangover, stress, fatigue, or menstrual discomfort that we experience before we sleep, before presentations, and after wrong and not so healthy decisions. So, what do people want at that moment when they are stressed or they are severely hungover? They want to make it go away, and this is exactly our solution. We make it go away. For example, our first product that you already see a test for in these bottles is for hangover. What is hangover? It is caused by dehydration. It is caused by dehydration and loss of electrolytes because alcohol is a diuretic, and it causes also gastrointestinal disruption and disrupted sleep. So the next day you feel like the worst human on the face of the earth. What we provide is the anti-hangover drink. It rehydrates, it replenishes electrolytes, It protects your liver, helps protect your liver with dihydramycin that we put in our drink. Not in the test yet. Do not worry about the complicated word. It's not going into your intestines right now. And it alleviates this hangover feeling in a shorter period of time. So where do we sit? We're in between sports and electrolyte drinks, which is sort of the science part, a really tested out science part, and superfoods, or the dihydramycin, which is actually from Chinese and Japanese homeopathy, but it is already tested in scientific papers. And what our solution does not have from like sports drinks, it has no caffeine or other stimulants, because it actually exacerbates the hangover feeling. There is no medicine, so there is no risk of like any misuse, and it is always handy. Why is it always handy? We're planning to go on B2B2C business model. So our perfect user is 24 to 35. They are a European city dweller, most likely, and with a high income, as they have a higher chance of actually consuming more alcohol, and they on a weekly or bi-weekly basis go to the pub or the bar with their friends, or even drink at home. And where we will help, so we're always handy. We're at the site of the crime at the bars. We're in food delivery apps, so when you wake up, that was the most common way people try to deal with hangovers if it's not a home remedy. And at festivals, also another crime scene for hangovers. So this is our plan, our roadmap. The most important part for you investors or potential investors in the future is we're still working on actually creating a viable test. We need to create the business model in full. And in April, we're planning to do an angel funding round. And by May, create the MVP so we can test in summer. And in September, start working on B2B sales. So actually, we go into the platform, and after that, establish and start manufacturing and do a soft launch by December. So the ask here, today we will not ask for money. That's in April, just to introduce the idea. But today, to complete our development, or accelerate it at least, we would like to ask for contacts and consultations. We need a dietitian, a food technologist, and a supplement manufacturer that would give us insights and actual solutions to some of the roadblocks we have run into in the development so far. And for a successful connection, once our product is in a nice and tasty state, we will give you a case of 4 for your possible needs. So if there is a contact you can give us, either contact us directly if you have our phone number, or write us on Instagram. And yeah, this was the sort of pitch part, the introduction to our product. So where did it all happen? It happened in the Developing by Experimenting course. It is about data-driven decision making in the main part. So how did we plan our project? We used a Gantt chart, trying to do not really in sprints, but at least blocks, so we can build it a bit more better in our brain. Of course, always deviations, but the project itself looked like this. So the initial idea was actually about helping people organize their stuff using cardboard solutions that they could make themselves, or we could ship it to them. So sustainable, do it yourself, do it with me, and do it for you. It covered all the bases. It was about organizing game board pieces, about organizing your, I don't know, drawer, your dirty laundry or something like that. So the first round we had 7 hypotheses, which were about the people that don't have a solution that sort of organizes stuff for the way they think and the way their brain works. And the main takeaways or conclusions here were that people know how to organize stuff. They always find a place for their stuff. They don't care enough about disorderliness in their home and their nearest vicinity too much, and one thing's to return to their natural state. It's not about preemptive organization, it's about reactive sort of getting things back to how they were. So that was the pivot, helping people return to normal state. This was my sort of, the first time I mentioned the hangover med kits that turned into human episodes and stuff like that, it was just sort of ideating on the first round being stuck, and then our first mention of this actual solution. So second round we had 5 hypotheses about people dealing with different episodes, and yeah, anxiety, pain, stress are common, maybe not daily, but multiple times a week. People are actively trying to find solutions, especially for hangover, but people don't actually know a good solution, a tried and tested, and just tried different things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so that's why we need science. So in total we did 12 interviews. We talked to 6 pharmacists about actually developing the solution, food producer. We did more than 6 research papers, but these are actually what we can connect to our to building our solution and finding data, so we don't have to survey. So finding different. Yeah, this is data from our research papers for prevalence of heavy drinking and different countries, trying to find a market, about binge drinking and age of drinking, income levels, how it dictates that stuff. So our insights is that drinking patterns change with age, as well as hangover patterns. Younger people are actually also really susceptible to hangovers, but there's a lot of different factors why they would not be probably our user. There's the macho factor about just dealing with it, not having important days to fix when having a hangover, because they don't do a lot of stuff. It changes with like lower income people, and high income people drink more than middle income. So different findings that are really instrumental to finding the people that actually need our product. And for MVP creation, we also, so there was a lot of research about what rehydrates a person, what electrolytes and how much are needed, about the DHM that I mentioned previously, the homeopathic solution, and the cheapest and the most quick way actually to create this test was to go to the shops, just taking a photograph of all the elements and different already mineral sports drinks, getting how much is in each drink, and comparing it to how much people actually need based on research, and mixing. That's it. Because we couldn't get the materials, the raw stuff here, or couldn't afford it yet, and the amount that they need to be like it's the lowest volume you can buy from factories. So yeah, that's how we created the MEP. So our first product most likely will be an electrolyte drink without stimulants and with dehydramycin. And yeah, we did additional business development. That's why we have the roadmap, created the MVP, and a bit of a landing page. We are not focusing on consumers in our landing page, so we created one for B2B. So it's about connecting your brand, if you're in the bar or pub business, or creating alcoholic drinks, to connect it with freshness and balance for people, so they actually come more often. Infamously, Labietis is a pub that everyone considers, or at least a lot of people consider to be connected to hangovers, severe hangovers, but this is actually not their fault. And also in the landing page explaining what our drink is. We haven't gotten much further there yet. We were focusing on the product, but this would be the base idea, sort of using the landing page to do the business-to-business side, and using social media for the consumer engagement side. And takeaways. I will actually use Kaspar's question to Dion, how much I want to work on this idea. It's a 10 out of 10. I couldn't sleep at nights for the past 2 weeks. Couldn't fall asleep because my mind is always racing about this idea. And I really think there's something there. And Krish, yeah, what's your takeaway reflection?
Yeah. For me, if I should answer the same question, it would be the same 10 out of 10. I'm not losing sleep yet over it, but I am quite close to that situation as well myself. When I find myself daydreaming, it's 9 times out of 10 it's about this idea and where it could go. So I am very, very much looking forward to working on this with dogs. And yeah, one more thing is that I hadn't really realized how much data you have to look for to make an actual educated decision about market entry and stuff like that until I started doing this and realizing how important it is to choose the right one, the right market. So I now realize how much is needed, how much I've done over the past few weeks is more than I've done. No, like in the past few weeks I've done more than I've done in the past few years. The market research part, which is not a good thing to say probably.
Our favorite saying right now is when Krish asks me a question about like what do we put in this part of the product or the page, I first humanly say my assumption, like okay, from the research, quickly in my head, that's the answer. But actually we don't know, we need to test it, and that's the answer for everything right now. We need to test it. Yeah. Do you know this? No, we need to test it. So there is scary amounts of development still ahead, but yeah.
Good scary.
This was a great course for our sanity. So thank you.
Kaspar, want to start?
Gladly, thank you. So it's really inspiring for me as well to hear that you got inspired by this idea. So my next question is other way around. I would like to ask the audience to whom heard this presentation, what do you think, despite of not delving into figures and money? What do you think? What's the probable success of this business? Is there business at all? Raise a hand. About half of audience who listening to you.
I don't drink.
Yeah, that's bad. Come on.
Since you, as you covered almost most of the questions required as well in presentation, I would like to ask, it's really nice to have an MVP on hand, but yeah, I would rather take it as a prototype this time.
I never called it an MVP. I call it a test specifically because it's actually just different products mixed together. So yeah.
And the question is, did you really mix some drink yourself, or you just?
No, those are different producers' products that I bought and mixed.
All right. Okay. And one suggestion to you. Please do some research on the naming of the product as well. So you won't end up as a Mitsubishi sometimes, several years ago, with a car launching in, if I recall correctly, in Mexico. And the actual model name in the Mexico, it was not very nice word.
Yeah.
So they had to change that.
Yeah, that was a 15-minute decision yesterday on what.
I love the name.
You do, but the Greeks may consider
Yeah,
it really offensive.
It made me.
Or whoever. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Davis. Really nice to hear that this course made you think a bit harder and work a bit harder. I had a question regarding the process, how you develop this prototype drink, where you like boiling all night with apron on. But you already answered that question. So, but I can see that you have somehow managed to get the bottle to. It's not like screwed already opened, right? It's
No, it's a screwed already open.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's not center at all.
Okay. So the main question is, so basically what you have done is that you see that there is a problem to be solved, but at this point, my assumption is that you don't know still how to create a super product.
We do know what to create exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like there might be small deviations once dietitian actually comes in and adjusts something about the absorption levels, but we know what to create. We have a couple of roadblocks on a couple of the elements in the product that we don't know the best way to mix it.
Mm-hmm. Because I know these kind of drinks are popular at the moment in the stores. It is going to be a hard way to get in those shelves. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm not saying that it isn't up for you. I just need to know, does it work actually? So I think that will be the key.
Yeah.
Also, could you please give me some information about your both roles in the project? Since Krish isn't presenting.
Very, very similar. Besides Krish being ill for 1 week and not being able to work, we did not similar stuff, but a similar sort of commitment. We researched different things, and Krish made a landing page, and he does the brand, not the branding, but the design, because I'm really bad at it, or really good at it, actually. Yes, yes, exactly. But yeah, very similar
roles
and commitment right now.
Okay, the next steps there were, everything was good with that. Yeah, so basically you need to answer the one final question, does it work, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question, not a question, but a comment actually. I really like the idea. When you were presenting, I kind of found this idea actually genius because I could imagine how there could be like a brand that actually makes a drink for dumb people and say like, this is for hangover, this is for morning, this is for evening, and the global consumers are getting this way, that it's easier for them to make a decision among all these tons of different products which call themselves like different names, but you could make them easier to decide like, oh, I have a hangover, I take this because it's called hangover, or I have like an anxiety, oh, I take this one, I'll get and it doesn't matter that actually the substances that are inside there, because we know about placebo, and as long as they believe the product is gonna be for their morning routine or evening routine, they're gonna take it because it's a simple choice.
Actually, an interesting thing about that is that the anti-anxiety drink that we would probably develop next, because of the science behind what we researched, it would be almost the same composition as that drink for the anti-anxiety.
So Coke Zero and Coke, what was the other one? Diet Coke and
Yeah.
Coke Zero, they're the same product, just labeled differently.
Yeah.
So it works. You just market it.
Yeah. Also, thanks for the pitch. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the drink. It tastes weird. I think that's how it's supposed to be. And when I was looking all on this, of course you have to get it right, as what Guido said. It has, like, from this technology part, it has to work, kind of. At least what you promised there. But that is not going to be the biggest issue. I think the biggest thing you have is basically marketing, and that's your business currently. All the little things you have written there, like this false behavior that I have to do but I don't do, like Socrates, and it's striped down. It's kind of, that's all actually. This is
for the test, yeah.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you leave it like that, it can be done in the marketing, and it just delivers message much better, like Socrates. Then but then don't, and then you drink, and then you win. So it's kind of everything. What's here is actually the reason why this, I could even say, will succeed. What's on it? This attractive and clever way how to put it, like how to promote the drink, because the drink itself for the bigger companies is easy for them to just put another drink, and you just have to put the drink of course as well. But the marketing is I would even call 60% of your success. That's going to be because of what's on the bottle. And before you jump into anxiety drinks, I think the market for this is too big to focus on anxiety drinks currently.
Yeah, no, that's just
because this probably
finding.
could take another 5 to 7 years for your lives at least to
Yeah,
just actually capture market in this one before scattering in different type of niches into it. Because in this one, yeah.
But you basically just gotta get the person buying the water or some vitamin water. That's your audience.
No, but you
You
can.
don't have to find the person who has anxiety or hangover or whatever. Like whoever buys the
Yeah, but that's-
vitamin water,
that's
if
still
he finds a
scattering.
solution, like he will evaluate himself, like which section he's in. Is he in hangover or is he in after workout or is he in somewhere?
But that's not on your business. That's not on your business side. That's on the client side. But if you go for the money, whenever you're gonna talk to investor that we have in pipeline much more other drinks, it means you're at the beginning phase. You don't have a focus already on something that you want to put into the market and how you get the money back. When it all works, makes sense after a few years to do that. When you say we need new drinks, but before that is just lose focus basically.
Sorry guys, we're way off.
Yeah. No mentoring at this point. Let's
Sorry.
stick to the presentation questions.
Last question.
Sure.
Not fully a question, but more like a comment about what Aris said about marketing. I haven't went to the presentation, but about the product. You know what Liquid Death is, right?
Yes.
It's just sparkling water and marketed greatly,
Yes.
and it worked. And you need to guys do the same, and it'll probably work out.
We already talked
In our
about
necessity,
Nice.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was it.
Thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate you also being interested. So, thanks.
Jāskatās viss, kas ir no TVD un tādām lietām, bet labi, viņiem jāskrien. Davai, čau, lai jums labi veicās. Bring back some cash.
Hell yeah. Money maker. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Pagaid, dod sekundīt, kamēr mums beidzas bišķiņ tāds pusbardaks. Pagaid, bišķiņ, Ernest.
Labi. Es sagatavošu tikmēr visu.
Yes, I've heard that the next courses are going after us, so that will be actually interesting. Are you gonna stay in this link or you have a separate link for that? Or is it only on site? Okay, okay. Okay, sure. Yeah. Ready. So, good morning, everyone. Let's start off with that. I'm Ernest. I worked solo in a team, which now that I look back might have been a bad choice, but hey, we all make mistakes, don't we? And that's the best possibility to learn. And developing by experimenting in Business Academy is mostly about learning. It's about understanding what we can solve, and thus it all just goes around searching for a problem. We may think that searching for a problem is a bad thing to do, right? Why are you looking for problems? Don't, just be chill. But when we're in this course, we're actually searching for problems to solve and developing them. And once we find something good that we could work on, we start gathering data. And with gathered up data, we start analyzing it, filtering it out, what counts, what doesn't count, what makes sense, doesn't make sense, and what is, let's say, valid. And we confirm this information, and then start working on the product. And there's various ways how to approach working on a product, but what I would think is the best way is to do it in a lean manner, not just waterfall based methods, where in lean you can always communicate with your client and make sure that they're not up on this side where they just the whole process through it they're angry and they're dissatisfied, and then in the end maybe they're happy. Yeah, like a little bit of happiness, like, oh, finally I got the product. But in a lean manner, you get to communicate with the client, understand what is needed to develop, and voila, you get the best possible solution out of the client. And sometimes we want to skip this step of validating, understanding, and we want to just take off all the filters and just drop the solution in the market and make our big bank, because that's how things we would like that things would go that way. But hey, we have to do the data gathering. So make sure that you fall in love with the problem, not the solution. This was a great book that I suggest either take a picture of or and read later, because yeah, Kasper suggested this book. I listened to it. It really helped. Just a bit worried that I didn't do it faster than I would have wished to. Anyways, and then I encountered a way how to approach problems, which is with the Ishikawa diagram, or in, let's say, a bit easier to understand words, fishbone diagram, because it's similar to a fish in shape, where you have the problem, you outline the things that connect with the problem, and in the end, yeah, all the causes are cited for, and you understand what needs to be worked on in order for the problem to disappear. So what did I work on? Well, I worked on my previous courses project, where we had this manufacturing course, and I wanted to do this one shopping cart upgrade. And regards planning, I used Trello. That's a new system for us to use now. Used to do ClickUp, used to do just protocols. Now it's just Trello. And yeah, basically, here's the plan how I wanted it to look like. But unfortunately, you'll hear the story why it didn't go as smooth as I wanted to. So, a shopping cart upgrade. What would it be? Well, it's already a ready product, let's say. That's how I jumped in the market. Basically, you scan a shopping cart with your QR code. You don't have to use the coins, because we knew by law, uh, physical money is gonna disappear in time. And so why not implement technologies that we can use with scooters, with other appliances? Why not use them in grocery stores and other furniture stores and depots as well? Well, yeah, a good question, isn't it? So now I had to validate this idea. So I defined who's the person I'm looking for, who's the client. And I understood that the clients would be grocery stores, depots, furniture stores, and they had to have a certain qualification. So they have to have in that store for around 100 shopping carts, has of let's say 1,000 client daily volume, where there's clients just going in and out of the store. So would make sense to have some new technology involved, and has agency staff taking care of their shopping carts, which is a thing that I had noticed. And location, well, first off, let's start with Latvia and then I'll expand. That was the idea. And then I started my interviews. I asked my questions. Only two of the clients answered me. Little gave, I could say, no answers because they had this secrecy sign, secrecy document where they cannot expose absolutely any information. So even though I was a student, well, interviews didn't go well. And what I learned from this is that companies are discreet about their internal processes. They are more employee centric than em- excuse me, they're more employee centric than customer centric. There's a typo here, pardon me. And they have their own shopping cart supplier, which they are not going to tell about even to a student. So I had little to no data of where should I move forward with this project. So I got stuck for a while and didn't know what to do next. Thus, all of my test cards, well, I could just throw them out because they were useless now. Yeah. So plan changes, and I'm starting to search for a new problem. But me being quite a technical guy, it was really hard to figure out any new problems to work with. So I stayed within the grocery store line area and looked at processes, gave questions to myself, went through shopping malls and tried to understand what's the problem. Like, am I struggling with anything? And I couldn't even outline the problem with the shopping cart because I rarely even use it. So I could easily drop that idea. And then I came to a conclusion that there is one problem that I really dislike is why do I have to wait so long in a line at grocery store? So yeah, basically I started doing the Ishikawa diagram and I'm outlining all the factors that uh, are responsible for this problem, and then marking from red to green which factors could I affect and which factors I cannot affect. And where I found out is that something could be affected equipment wise. So, but my pure own experience was not enough, so I had to like actually ask people. So I went to a shopping center, Alpha, and there's Remy, and basically stood at the entrance and said, "Hey, I'm a student at Ventspils, and I have 5 questions for you. Do you have a minute to answer them?" And yeah, basically asked what is the main thing that they dislike when they're shopping, what do they like the most, asked it was really free flowing interview, and I asked also about to support the answers that I give based on mom test book. And what I learned is that people have a pain with waiting in line for so long. Like a lot of people usually they get to the store at end of work, and there's a lot of people, everybody's scanning slowly, or the employee is slow at the cash register. There's no one to help them at the self checkout, and they do not really use the guns that you can use to scan products going through the store. and basically avoiding the available solutions in order to have this faster shopping experience. So I had an idea that I could develop scanning products with your phone and making the purchase on the go. Super fast and easy solution, right? You have the application already for customers that are loyal to your company. So why not integrate this scanning function where you walk through the store, you scan your product, you pay for them with your phone, and you're on the go already, back home. But then, ah, while working on my MVP, uh, I encountered something very interesting, that there's already this solution available. And even though I asked 40 people what solutions do they use, do they plan time differently to go to shop at that particular grocery store, none of them even noticed that there's a function on your phone to scan the product, pay for it, and go home. Thus, again, disqualifying my product idea that I could work on. And yeah, basically, I had huge uh, learning curves here and runnings into walls. So it was pretty useful, but my next steps is to drop this idea and implement this knowledge towards developing my own personal project. So reflection wise, focus on the problem, not the idea. If you really fall in love with the idea and you're like, okay, we have to implement this because this is so nice, and then you're trying to figure out actually how you're going to bring it to market, well, that's not going to work, and you're going to lose time that way. Plus, having a team can help to get to answers and problems to solve much faster. So you would not have this one mind churning and trying to figure out what's the next step and where do I move from now if I fail. And plus, another thing, working on my trading hedge fund could have been much more useful than trying to work with grocery stores. Thank you. You and I. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. I Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because it's just a month, and thus even in a month you learn way more than maybe some would learn in a year. Yeah. Yeah, basically, well, I have this kind of a question that I can answer for myself, which is, do you have a customer loyalty app? It's just to open up the doors to the next question. They say yes, and then I ask them, do you have this like a goal set, what you want to reach? How many clients should use this application or something like that? But then the doors instantly shut. They're like, we cannot tell you that. I'm like, "But I'm just a student. Like, it's just for I'm interested how big companies work and how do you approach this? Do you measure it? We cannot answer you this." And I'm like, well, thank you. And yeah, well, basically those are the answers. Like once I ask something, but regards the shopping cart, like that was the first product that I worked on. Regards shopping carts, they said, yeah, that we have external employees in Rimi. In Lidl, they had employees within the company doing the work, and plus they do not give an option to leave a shopping cart somewhere in the parking lot. You have to drive it back to the entrance of the store or inside of the store as a user. So in that sense, the shopping